I think the charges are absurd. It's ridiculous.
This investigation into me is nothing more than retribution. It's baseless.
The Trump Justice Department just opened up a criminal investigation into the former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering. America. Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. It was around this time last year that we were being told over and over again that nobody is above the law. Not even Donald Trump, a former president, not even a front-running candidate for president of the United States from a major political party. Nobody is above the law. Well, here we are in 2025, and Democrats are getting a taste of that very bitter medicine, especially the three you see on the screen right now. All three of them are feeling that phrase, no one is above the law, including the Democrat frontrunner for mayor of the People's Republic of New York City, Andrew Cuomo, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, that we've talked about here on the show from New Jersey, and New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Looks like the shoe is on the other foot, doesn't it?
We're going to get to all of these stories from yesterday, but before we get to all that, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the shows. And if you like what you're seeing here in this or any other video on the channel, smash that thumbs up button. Like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that really, really good stuff, because all that's going to feed the YouTube algorithm as we march down the road to 3,000 subscribers. We interrupt this video to remind you that tonight, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, me and Ross Galloway go back behind enemy lines. We're going to be discussing these breaking stories concerning Andrew Cuomo, LaMonica McIver, and Letitia James, as well as any other news that breaks during the day today. Remember, that's Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, behind enemy lines. And now back to the show. Earlier yesterday, the acting U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina, issued a press release announcing that the DOJ would be pursuing charges against Congresswoman LaMonica McIver from Newark concerning the incident at the Delaney Hall ICE detention facility that involved body cam footage of McIver throwing some elbows at an ICE official. We discussed this in another video that I'm going to link in the upper right-hand corner right there. You can check that out later. In that video, we see a red blazer wearing McIver pushing and shoving her way during a fracas when a detainee bus was being let into the facility, and McIver and colleagues was trying to get in through the gate against the order and direction of the ICE officials at Delaney Hall. Now that those charges have been brought, McIver went on CNN to discuss her immediate reaction to what Alina and the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey will be pursuing.
We showed up there to do a job, Kate. We were there for an oversight visit. We have done this before. Me, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman, and Congressman Rob Menendez was just at a facility just a couple of weeks ago, not too far from this location, where we had an oversight visit, and we were a little bit delayed, but not, confronted or was in the middle of a chaos to do so. I think, number one, we have an obligation to do so. We have to show up and do our jobs. And at the end of the day, the reason why we were there is because we wanted to make sure this facility was up to par, that it was clean, that it was safe, and that the detainees there were, given due process, that they were able to use the phone, that they were able to speak to their legal representation, which we found out was not happening.
I even changed the tone of my voice.
Now, this is a much different tenor and tone than what we're used to from McIver. We're used to her being out there in those streets, screaming and hollering, sometimes using obscenities, and other times declaring war against the Trump administration. Remember this from earlier this year?
We will not take this. We will fight back. Fight back. Fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and goddamn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war.
Quite a difference, right? McIver is sticking to the story that every Democrat has been saying in press releases released all day yesterday, that she was there exercising her congressional duty of oversight over the Delaney Hall facility. But I must ask the Congresswoman, and I'm going to put the question to you guys out there, as we show the footage from the body cam, what part of this would be considered congressional oversight? Would it be, I don't know, would it be the left elbow hitting the ICE officer, or the right elbow, or the shoving and the pushing? Or would it be the obscenities and the privileged behavior of, don't you know who I am? That was all evident on the body cam footage. What part of that was oversight?
Oversight my ass.
As I said earlier, Democrats issued press releases all day yesterday with the same refrain. This is lawfare, this is unprecedented, this is retaliation, and this is all going against an innocent congresswoman who was just doing her congressional duty of oversight. But the reaction that took the cake for me, not only because of what was said, but how it was said, was Hakeem Jeffries. Look at this buffoonery.
Just got word that LaMonica McIver, a hard-working member of Congress, has been criminally charged by this corrupt Trump administration. What the F is wrong with you? Congresswoman McIver didn't commit any crime.
Why are you talking like a robot?
It's clear to me that she was there doing her best to try to protect Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, who's an 80-year-old cancer survivor. LaMonica and two other members of Congress were there conducting a constitutionally protected oversight visit. The charge against LaMonica McIver needs to be dropped. It needs to be dropped immediately, and we're going to make sure that every single person responsible for this corrupt abuse of power and egregious overreach is held accountable.
Thanks, Obama.
He sounded like a Timu version of Obama.
Yes, we can. Let me be clear.
The hand gestures were stilted. The teleprompter wasn't moving as quickly as he liked, and his speech had these awkward pauses and everything in it. It was a sight to see. Also occurring yesterday, New York Attorney General Letitia James reacted to her own DOJ investigation for the first time publicly. This involves a purchase of property in Virginia where the DOJ is looking into possible mortgage fraud, which is quite ironic considering that James prosecuted Trump for his own alleged fraud concerning loans against certain properties, which, by the way, as I said earlier, is winding its way through the appellate court in the People's Republic of New York, and I think has a good chance of being just thrown out by the appellate division. But let's get back to this story.
New York Attorney General Letitia James with some tough words against the Trump administration. She is forcefully defending herself from a mortgage fraud investigation launched by the Justice Department, and she spoke with political reporter Marcia Kramer.
It was the first time New York Attorney General Letitia James spoke before the Association for a Better New York in 4 years, and she had a terse message for the city's movers and shakers about a probe launched by the Trump Justice Department into allegations of mortgage fraud.
This investigation into me is nothing more than retribution. It's baseless.
The probe centers on charges she falsified records related to her home in Brooklyn and loan documents for a Virginia property she was co-signing for a niece.
It has to do with the fact that on a power of attorney, I mistakenly indicated that I was a state of Virginia, but prior to that, I had indicated to the mortgage broker that, in fact, in bold cap letters, that I am not a resident of Virginia and no.
It was just an innocent mistake, y'all. Where did I hear that before? Oh, yeah, isn't that what the Trump defense was when Letitia James was prosecuting him concerning possible fraud regarding loans and banking and properties? Why should that work for her when she didn't accept that as an excuse for Donald Trump and his business? Let's make that the question of the day. Do you recognize that there's a hypocrisy going on here by these Democrats? Or do you think that Trump is the one being hypocritical for bringing all these charges through his DOJ? Discuss that in the comments as we continue on with this video.
will be.
Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed that his agents are actively investigating the case and reporting directly to him and Deputy Director Dan Bongino.
This case, I can tell you, is being handled by our professional pros who are subject matter experts reporting directly to headquarters because it is a case of great public importance.
James says it's retribution for the $455 million judgment her office won against President Trump and the Trump Organization for inflating property values to get more favorable loan and insurance terms. During her speech, she bragged about filing 23 suits challenging the legality of the executive orders signed by the president that she said do harm to New Yorkers.
My message is clear. Don't harm my city. Don't harm my state. Otherwise, you've got to go through me.
Challenge accepted.
Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. Finally, there's Andrew Cuomo. And there's barely any video about this because as we're taping this, it literally just happened.
Hot off the presses.
You may recall an interview we did on Behind Enemy Lines with Voices for Seniors and my friend Vivian Zayas concerning this very topic. Vivian, if you were able to get a hold of Pam Bondi right now, what would you want her to know about this entire situation with Cuomo?
Well, first of all, the civil rights of the seniors were violated. They were locked in nursing homes, which in that setting is their home. It's their house, their domicile, because they are either there for short-term care or long-term care. So one of their rights is basically that you would not bring harm to them. So what they did was open the door to a deadly virus to people, to their home. So I would love her to not only investigate, obviously the select subcommittee did an amazing job. But I think that there's more information that they're covering. Hochul would not have redacted information and withheld documents if there wasn't anything to hide. So if they can basically expand on that investigation, if they can basically, we forget that Rachel Levine in Pennsylvania took out her mother out of a nursing home and then put other nursing home residents with these deadly viruses. So this was not just in New York, although it was more egregious in New York, but there's other states that did similar things following Cuomo, who was being highly praised at the time. So what we want is an expansion of the New York State investigation. And if possible, we want him held accountable. Many would love to see him in an orange jumpsuit. And I actually want the truth. If we can get both, that would make us extremely happy. So him behind bars and also having the truth so that we can prevent this from happening again.
And now I can bring to you their reaction to this breaking news. Voices for Seniors responds to the DOJ criminal investigation into former Governor Andrew Cuomo. After years of silence, deflection, and political spin, the wheels of justice are finally beginning to turn. Voices for Seniors welcomes the news that the U.S. Department of Justice has opened a criminal investigation into former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo for allegedly lying to Congress about his role in the catastrophic handling and attempted cover-up of nursing home deaths during the COVID-19 pandemic. For over 5 years, our movement has been fueled by heartbreak and a single-minded demand for the truth. Over 15,000 seniors died in New York nursing homes. Mothers, fathers, grandparents, while those in power played politics and manipulated the narrative. Cuomo's alleged involvement in editing the July 2020 DOH report to conceal the real death toll is not just a betrayal of public trust, it's a betrayal of the very lives he was sworn to protect. This investigation is not just justified, it's overdue. The evidence paints a damning picture of a leader more concerned with image than integrity. Grieving families have waited long enough. I'm going to put a link to this release in the description of the video so you can read it further later on. But if you wanted proof that these charges are credible in comparison to the stretched legal theories that Donald Trump had to endure in 2024, look no further than the statements of the Voices for Seniors. And credibility is absolutely key here, because if you're going to make the argument that these charges are different than the trumped-up lawfare from 2024 against Donald Trump, you have to be able to explain the credibility. Let's start with McIver. That's easy. There's body cam footage. You see the assault happening on camera. Credibility is instantly there. Now, does that mean there's going to be a conviction? Your guess is as good as mine. If this is going to be in New Jersey, where Donald Trump isn't exactly the most popular person, your guess is as good as mine. It all depends on the makeup of the jury and how the presentation can be made to this jury, whether it's compelling enough to get that kind of conviction. I'm not so sure it can happen, but be that as it may, we'll see it all play out. When we talk about Letitia James, there's a paper trail that the DOJ and the FBI is pursuing. Surely there will be evidence, documentary evidence, to support all of these charges. Now, again, if this is happening in New York or Virginia, whether there's going to be a conviction is up in the air as well. When it comes to Cuomo, there are transcripts, there's evidence, there's documentary evidence. There are witnesses testifying against what he said that lends itself to supporting the charges of perjury that Voices for Seniors and that James Comer are referring to. That's credibility in every single case. Now, compare that to the contrived theories, the novel theories that Donald Trump had to face. And I think the difference becomes clear between the lawfare of 2024 and the pursuit of justice in 2025. But hey, listen, that's just my opinion on all of this. Let me know what you guys think about these three cases. And as always, like and share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. Right now, in these early stages, I think that people can say with a straight face that this is actually pursuing the interests of justice. What do you think? Let us know in the comments and let's discuss this together, as well as all the other shenanigans and buffoonery happening every day this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.